The average person is said to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Why not take advantage of that time and learn something new? Presenting the 15-minute podcast on weird facts, crazy details, and funny particulars that you'll be able to enjoy while you're taking a on your free time. Welcome to The Shit with Sam Butler. Welcome to another episode of The Shit Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Butler. Thank you guys for joining us. This is episode 100. That's right. 100 episodes in Spanish, 100 episodes in English, a total of 200 episodes of weird facts. We didn't think we'd get here so quick, but here we are. Actually, it's a special episode, not only because it's the 100th episode, but I actually have a guest from Aguascalientes, Mexico, comedian El Sato.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Thank you for joining me, Sato. I know English is not your first language, so if you get stuck, whatever, it's cool, man. We'll fix it. We'll translate it. I struggle in Spanish, so I appreciate you trying this in English.
Thank you. I hope the playing Zelda function right now.
Yeah.
I hope that.
Yeah, you're good, man. Everything functions. We'll be okay. But actually, we're going to talk about something that's very familiar to you, being that you're from Aguascalientes. We're going to talk about the Mummies of Guanajuato.
The mummies?
The mummies.
Not the mummies, the mummies?
Mummies is with an O. That means something completely different. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. Mummies.
Not MILFs? No,
not MILFs.
Mummies.
The MILFs of Guanajuato. Hey, that would be a good topic for the next episode. Hey, we're going to change this to the MILF podcast. We're going to talk about MILFs all over the world. No, but we're going to talk about the Mummies of Guanajuato.
Yes. More relaxed.
More relaxed. It's chill. Yeah, it's easy.
Some mummy must be a MILF. No?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there was plenty there that looked like they were MILFs in their young age, you know.
Hey.
But it's interesting because for all you listeners that don't know, there's actually a town in the state of Guanajuato in Mexico that's called Guanajuato as well. So it's Guanajuato. And do you know what Guanajuato means?
Yes. It's a hill of the frogs.
Hill of the frogs. That's right. Guana is frogs and Juato is the hill, right?
I think.
Man, we're going to say it is, but Guanajuato is the place of, what I understood it to be is the place of frogs.
Yes.
Yeah, so Guanajuato is and a lot of people don't know this, but Guanajuato is a mining community. Mm-hmm. Started out as a mining community, and they had a lot of tunnels that they had dug.
Like dungeons.
Like dungeons, right? A lot of tunnels. And it's a very interesting town because it's very Renaissance. It has a Renaissance vibe to it. The college is Cervantes College, which for my English listeners that don't know, Cervantes wrote
Don Quixote.
And Don Quixote is a literary masterpiece in Spanish, equivalent to one of Shakespeare's literary pieces in English. Mm. So it's a very cultural place, a very literature based, very educational, but it's also very old.
Yes.
And it's got a very European feel to the town. Small alleyways, a lot of hills, a lot of stairs.
Really likes it looks like Spain.
Looks like Spain.
I never been in Spain, but
it looks like what we've seen in postcards of Spain. I haven't been to Spain either.
It's the same.
Yeah. But it's a jewel in Mexico, and the thing about it is that they're very well known because they had a phenomenon happen there. 1830s, they had the Spanish flu.
Hey.
And during the Spanish flu pandemic, which we're very familiar with right now, as far as pandemics are concerned, they had a lot of deaths. And the rate of deaths were so many that they had people actually dying in the street. And some people were just kind of fainting. Mm-hmm. And they would just pick them up like they were dead, and they would bury them as quickly as possible because they didn't want the disease to spread. What ended up happening is they ended up burying a lot of people that weren't dead, right? But it wasn't until like 30 years later that they started excavating and they found some of the people. The very first guy that they ever excavated, his name was Remigio Leroy. Remigio Leroy was a French doctor that lived in the town, passes away. They dug him out in 1865.
Uh-huh.
And then they discovered that this guy was a mummy. And so that was kind of, and as they started digging up more and more corpses, they found out that they were all mummified. And this was a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they didn't embalm these people. These people dehydrated.
Okay.
And they dehydrated based on the soil conditions, the weather. There's a unique soil and weather condition in Guanajuato.
The minerals and
minerals in the earth that cause them to dehydrate before they could be decomposed by maggots or whatever else. And so the biggest thing, and this is one of the shit facts.
Imagine if you, I don't know, enterrar.
Bury
McDonald's burger.
Yeah, it's still there.
It will be eternal, that shit. No?
Yeah, they're eternal already. You know? But it would be interesting to see that.
Where I put my burger?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like 100,000
years old. Yeah. But it's crazy because I went there as a tourist and I thought, I really want to see these mummies everybody's talking about. And when I got there, what shocked me was the reason why they dug them up. Turns out that, and I didn't know this was like something that blew my mind. Mm-hmm. But in Mexico, it's a common practice that your family has to continue to pay rent on the burial plot.
Mexico.
It's crazy.
Very Mexican shit.
Yeah, it's very Mexican because it's like, I want to buy a plot to bury someone. You can't buy it. We'll rent it to you though. You know,
you can pay in Coppel.
Yeah, you can go pay a Coppel. Yeah,
your dead space. Oh, Coppel.
Yeah, rent it. We're gonna repossess the space, and that's exactly what they did. This guy happened to be the first guy because he was French, and they assume that his family didn't even know where he was buried. They lived in France, so nobody paid up when the rent was due, and he got evicted.
I think Leroy, if he lived in Coco, the movie, he vanished, you know?
Yeah, he vanished. Yeah, and that was the thing. That was the thing that blew my mind about these mummies is that these were bodies that they dug up because they didn't pay rent. They were evicted. So that made it a little weird for me. Mm-hmm. Like my conscience kind of bothered me a little bit. I still looked, I was still fascinated by the whole thing, but it kind of made me feel bad for the mummies. It's like they gentrified. they gentrified. The cemetery. Out with the old, in with the new. But it was interesting that there was over 100 mummies.
We have a Starbucks.
Yeah, and they have a Starbucks in the cemetery now. No, but
they pay.
They pay. And it was crazy to see this go down. And one of the things that, like I said, a lot of people were buried that hadn't died yet. Mm-hmm. So that's something that's very common with a lot of the mummies is that they had an expression of terror on their face when they died. So you can imagine discovering that 100 years later, that these guys are. And I don't know, like
my mother-in-law is dead.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. And that's I mean, think about all the people you could get away with burying, right?
Yeah. I have some people
that you would.
I can turn in mummies.
I'm gonna put something in their coffee. Yeah, but there's one mummy that really had an impression on me of a lady that's kind of protecting herself. And you go, oh, she was probably murdered, and that makes you it makes you wonder, like, but it also gives you that feeling of what's going on. They're known this display of over 100 corpses right? Some of them are completely dressed. Some of them are semi nude. Some are completely nude. It just
The
depends.
texture of the cloth.
You can see their clothes. You can see the buttons. Some of them, had facial hair. The facial hair is still there.
This fat guy,
His
his
skin.
belly,
Yeah.
his skin is
all stretched out. Yeah.
That impacts me.
It impacts you. And what's really interesting about it is that they did not do anything to embalm the bodies. This garnered international attention because they wanted to know, well, how are these bodies so perfectly preserved? And they were naturally preserved. And of course, if you go to Guanajuato, we talked about this in the Spanish episode, since it was a mining community, there's tunnels all through the hills there. And the city actually sits up on the hills, but all of the roadways go into tunnel systems.
Very tired walking on Guanajuato.
Yeah. They told me when I was there, they said, look, up here you're pretty safe. If you start walking in the tunnels, there's some sketchy characters in the tunnels. They might mug you. You just be careful. And so I kind of stayed out of the tunnels, but I did have a tour guide at one point, and he would drive us around and take us where we needed to go. And it was like you got to see everything. But it was weird to me to see intersections, of tunnel systems.
Yes, you can lose yourself.
Yeah, there was stoplights in the tunnels. Like you'd have to stop and wait, and then you'd go. Some of the tunnels would come at an angle, like a 40. So Guanajuato is amazing, but I also understand how it was, being that it was such a mineral mining town, how it was that all of those minerals caused this dehydration in the bodies. And they're known for a lot of some of the mummies are like famous, the famous one of the famous mummies that I was told that you had to check out was the witch.
Yes.
That there was a witch mummy. Did you see the witch mummy?
I don't remember. I was in my mind is this fat guy and the kids' mummies.
Yeah. I remember I did not see the actual witch mummy that everybody kept talking about. I didn't, or if I saw her, I didn't pick up on it. But the legend is that she's they call her Carmen, and the legend is that she was a witch, and she was buried alive because she practiced black magic. We don't know if that's true or not, but they also say there's a famous mummy called Dennis the Menace is the translation into English.
Dennis the
De
Menace.
Daniel el Travieso. And he was given that nickname because of the series. But they say that this young kid mummy, if you get close to him, you could hear him make noises, or even like little kid voices come from the body, which I kind of believe.
It feels haunted. All Guanajuato.
Yeah.
And the museum feels that vibe.
It's got a real dense vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in New Orleans. New Orleans kind of feels like that too.
Oh, okay.
In some spots, mostly in the French Quarter. Other parts, you're just like, whatever, it's just another city. But in the French Quarter, it kind of gives you that. You could almost hear, and maybe it's your imagination, but you could almost hear the horses, and walking down the street with pulling a carriage. You could almost imagine that. So I don't know if a lot of it's what we imagine it to be, or if it's really something that we're picking up in a subconscious level. I don't know, but you get that vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like I told you in the Spanish episode.
Yeah.
Guanajuato, it's perfect for a Harry Potter's movie.
Yeah, it would be great.
You can like in the train, three quarters. No, I don't remember the number, but you can lose yourself. Like the university is like a
yeah. It looks very Harry Potterish. The university.
Yes,
it's a very nice town. If you guys have a chance to go check it out, it's very affordable as a tourist destination. The hotels are amazing.
Yes.
The way
it's a castle.
Yeah.
There is I don't remember how is the name, Santa Monica, but it's a castle. It's an hotel and it's a castle, and it's very scary to stay in there. Yeah. But it's very beautiful. The floor is like the small mosaics. I don't know how to say.
Tile.
Yeah. And it's a pattern
Very old.
very bonito.
Yeah, very,
Yes.
yeah.
Pero sí, it feels
dense.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that
I don't like to go to the bathroom.
I know that I would walk down the street and the coffee shops, the great coffee, but a lot of them look like they dug a hole into the side of the mountain and then built their store inside there. So it was pretty amazing to just go and have a cup of coffee.
Yes.
You know, and then of course they do a lot of the Renaissance music and they walk through the all of the alleyways.
The alleys.
And they sing very Renaissance era. So it's a very, very neat experience. If you're into paranormal stuff, if you're into science, if you're into
Art. For
geology.
example,
It's
Diego
great.
Rivera
Yeah.
is from Guanajuato.
Yes.
Was
And
from
beer.
Yes, beer. The Indio is the best Indio
It's the best beer.
in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yes, the barril. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know that there's a lot of our listeners are in Mexico, so you guys will know El Santos was a famous wrestler.
Yes.
A lot of Mexican people will refer to him as Mexico's first action hero.
Yes.
Right, and he did. This was a wrestler that always wore a mask. Nobody knew what he looked like in real life, and it was always a silver colored mask. And he became this action hero in the 60s and 70s in different movies.
So Captain America.
He's your Captain America.
Yes.
And he had other buddies that were luchadores, lucha libre wrestlers, and these guys would be in movies with him. And so he did a movie where he's actually fighting the mummies of Guanajuato.
Justo.
Right? And that movie has a cult following because not only was El Santos there, but Blue Demon, who's another guy that wore a blue mask, and El Mil Máscaras, right? And they all fought the mummies off. And the thing that this did, though, is it gave Guanajuato an international spotlight. So now people could actually see, and people started going like, wait, there's mummies there? And it became a tourist destination.
In Turkish, there is a movie that appears El Santo, Spider-Man,
Oh, wow.
and Captain America, I think.
In Turkey.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. Is it the real guys? Or is
No,
it like,
no.
It's like
They were actors from that country.
From India, yeah.
But there is actually...
They lumped all those guys together as
Yes.
like, these are the Avengers. Yeah, it's amazing.
I think in YouTube must be the video or something that named that.
Yeah.
But that's a shit thing.
It's awesome. It's the shit. So the mummies in Guanajuato are a natural phenomenon. They're the shit. Check them out. Check out Guanajuato as a city as a whole. The artisans there do a lot of things with leather. I know I bought a little bag for traveling that's leather, and it was like $30. And if I had tried to buy that anywhere else, it'd been like over $100. I was amazed at the quality of the leather. So check it out. This was this episode of the Shit Podcast. I wanted to talk about something that I had also experienced and could talk about it firsthand, not just something I read. But it was there's a lot of details like this, they have the smallest mummy in the world, which is a baby it was a fetus that's 8 months old. It was about that big, and that, like you said, that's something that kind of creeps you out.
If you pass near to the feto,
Yeah.
he tells you, I was an engineer.
Oh yeah. That's funny. But wait.
My mom don't wanna.
Wait, like a train engineer or like a construction engineer? I'm confused. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but thank you guys for joining us. Sato, where can people find you on social media?
you can find me in Instagram and Facebook like El Sato Comedia.
And Sato Comedia.
We are in Aguascalientes, Hot Waters.
Yeah.
And we make stand-up.
Yeah.
And we have a colectivo, a team
Yeah.
that calls Colectivo con Galero.
Con Galero.
Check it out in social media, and that's it.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining me, especially on this English episode. Thank you for making the effort to do it in English. And I appreciate you guys for joining me. We have a lot of people that follow the podcast that use this podcast to teach English.
Nice.
So thank you guys. Thanks to Los Cagadienses.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. And thank you for being, and thank you for 100 episodes in English, guys. I'm amazed that we got this far, this fast. Thank you so much. You can find me as Tu Amigo Sam on all social media platforms. And you can find me on podcast platforms as Sta Cagado Podcast. That's STACADAGO. Sta Cagado. Thank you. And we'll catch you on the next one. That's it for this episode of the Shit Podcast.